Welcome to a program on target. And remember, as soon as we start that program, you could take the bat and you could take the ball. The number to call is 442-0175. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, whether it is LGBT in Jamaica, or if it is violence, or even in Grenada, any issues. You don't have to wait for somebody to raise a topic. You could do that. So we encourage people to speak, exchange ideas, punch, ask questions. I will give my opinion on any subject matter once I'm comfortable with the topic, and particularly politics. We don't run away from any topic. We discuss any situation. The number to call is 442-0175. We're on Real FM 91.9, YouTube, and Facebook. So, the ball is in your court. A question we always have to ask ourselves. We can't back down. The violence level in the Caribbean is unacceptable. In 1962, Jamaica was one of the least violent countries in the world. Today, Jamaica is one of the most violent countries in the world. And it's unfortunate. We have a number of police division in Jamaica that is managed with a public curfew. When we reach that stage, we have to ask ourselves questions. The situation in Trinidad, Guyana, other Caribbean countries is unacceptable. The violence level in Grenada is also increasing. It is better than most countries in the Caribbean, but you see some worrying signs. We could always turn around and blame the government, blame the church, blame the institution, blame the school. And we might be right. All of them might have some contributing factors. But what about us? How many times we ask ourselves, what could we do to prevent our sons and daughters from bad behavior, from poor behavioral practices? You see some young people and you look at the level of discipline and the behavior, and sometimes you wonder what would happen to them in the next couple of years. I always encourage people to concentrate on your children. If your child is in secondary school, perhaps you're already too late. You might be able to salvage them from becoming part of the violent crowd. But if they are in primary school, between 0 to 12, 10 years, definitely you could prevent them from being part of the violent crowd. Some people claim that drugs and alcohol, cigarette smoking, tobacco, weed, whatever is a contributing factor. You have a child in primary school, parents could definitely do the utmost to prevent that child from getting involved in alcohol and drugs. Weed, coke. As you look around, you see what is happening to the brothers in the community who are addicted to coke. They will steal fowls, they selling their clothes, they climbing breadfruit tree in the night, they begging, and it's sad. When you see some young people with such hope, been to school, and they just give it all away. Their health condition is going to deteriorate because of the lifestyle they live. And when they become addicted to drugs, then it's difficult. You know, sometimes people take advantage of them, they beat them up, and it's sad. But what could you do to prevent your children from getting involved in drugs? I think this is a question that all parents have to ask themselves. And when I say parents, I always zero in on women. Why women? 60% of the household in Grenada are led by women. And in the early part of your life, a child's life, the mother spends much more time with the child than the father. So obviously, it makes no sense we're beating around the bush. The mother is most significant. They spend more time. They have more power. They have more influence in the child in primary school life than the father. That child should not be outside all hours of the night. Parents have to pull in. Parents have to encourage their children to go to church. It's not about hell and heaven here now. If you grow up your child in the church, particularly when the child is in primary school, that may be a factor that discourages your child from getting involved in drugs, alcohol, and bad behavior only. They say an idle hand is the devil's workshop. A lot of our children do not have much to do. So they idle. And as a result, they are attracted to some of the deviant, antisocial, delinquent behavior in the community. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, scholar.
How are you, sir?
Good, man. Great.
I don't find you're not talking like you well.
Maybe my voice a little bit.
Yes, by your voice. Your
Yeah.
voice. Like the cold want to attack you.
Yeah, I think more the voice rough.
Mr. Pierre, what I was told, I got called to see. H.A. Blaze Street and River Road. You see that heat that's going on there now? We can't joke with it. We're in August month. And we need this road and them to build. When he deteriorate, everybody, I see the minister running and showing the colors. Well, I thought he would have started walk. But it's like he do things and then like if he forget what he go and watch. So we need the bridge to block River Road water from washing. The people house lower don't want to go, you know. We need the bridge. That is my complaint.
What happened? The project held up?
Pardon me?
They held up the project?
Yeah, man. The one that they hold up in River Road and H.A. Blaze Street where the road teeth.
And maybe they must be reviewing the project.
Pardon me?
Maybe they must be reviewing the project.
Well, Mr. Pierre, how you could review the project?
But you know the National Democratic Congress like to review projects.
Well, Mr. Pierre, and the water go in the people's house?
Well, they have to also be concerned about the stadium.
Yeah, the stadium, the people.
The soccer system in the stadium.
You know what had go on the last time when the little rainfall there? River Road near heat out, you know.
Well, they must be reviewing the project. I mean, come on, that is the history of the National Democratic Congress. And they're reviewing Simon too.
They're reviewing Simon, and when they review the same thing what they hate, that when they coming back and like, you know.
Well, you see, I always say to people, the National Democratic Congress have a footprint. Once they come in power, they're reviewing, because they criticize some of these things so much.
See, the road was in how they call it up there. Going in the place up first to go outside up there. Everything done, they go and they condemn, and what they hate, that why they still come back and they lie.
But you know, they were very critical of the previous government spending too much money on roads.
I listen to that same Prime Minister, they hear now say, we tired with concrete, we can't live by concrete, we can't live by steel and concrete.
So don't expect them to, well, if they say that, how you expect them to put emphasis on the road and infrastructure?
I'm sorry for we who do that, who take with finger.
They might put emphasis on the massive project, the highway. But these little roads and them is not impressive.
Well, I need that, and I need the road, I need River Road to start, because it is it's not to say they are the ones search for money for River Road. The money already there to go and build the people bridge. Build the bridge.
If you review the project, time overrun, you may have to get more money.
Okay.
But I don't think money is a problem for NDC.
I'm sorry for River Road people. I can't help them out.
They have to have some patience, because
they have to seek their injuries. They dirty their fingers, so seek their injuries. Later.
Yeah, but everybody know the government like to review.
All right, yeah, later.
So I think the government is going to take some time and review the project. I don't know how long, they might take, a year or two. And then they would continue with it. You see, that is the policy of the NDC. When they come in power, they just review the projects. Remember what they did with the market in Grenville? So you expect them to review all these projects. One would hope that they show some respect for professionalism and continuity. But these main projects, I guess sometimes they want to get rid of the contractors too, to choose their own contractors and to find a way to demele between the project. So it's unfortunate, but that is the reality. You know, the NDC came to power in 2008, 2013. They made their reviews. Some members of the NDC disagreed with this time wasting. And you know, by the time 2013 reached, the economy was in free fall. They were not able to pay claims in the treasury. And they were selling property to meet current expenditure, to pay salaries, to pay bills. To the extent that they sold about 13 pieces of property. They sold property that did not even belong to them. And they sold property that they did not have the legal authority to sell. So that is the challenge we have. I think sometimes we must know the history of political organization. We must study the footprints. And by doing that, you could predict what they will do in the future. So where roads is concerned, I expect a general deterioration in roads. Some of these projects that they are touting, it would have cost overrun. And the National Democratic Congress is not known. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah. I know you asked who sent the Prime Minister. You were asking that question. And yeah, I think someone sent him to the civilized grade. Right? You guys watch all the other African countries, right? What was stabilized. You realize they rise up their own people to destabilize them. Because the Prime Minister did say that he said he didn't come for transformation. He said he come for restorative justice. So that logo tell you that he come to destabilize the country, because by taking away jobs from who have a job and giving other people and lifting people on the bread line, That is destabilization. And so I think he purposely he did say it. He not so much transformation. He didn't really come ready for that. Just use that as a campaigning tool. But he come to destabilize Grenada. That is the only purpose I see that day. Right now, it's destabilization going on there. Like taking job on people and giving other people and all kind of nonsense. So take care of that. Let me continue.
Yes, caller, I have to agree with you. You know. I have always asked the question, who sent him? He's a corporate lawyer. We heard that he was successful, and I know of no corporate lawyer who is successful in the Caribbean that leave the practice and come in politics. So I've asked the question from day one, who sent him? And the Prime Minister was marketed as someone with deep pockets and contacts. That is how the National Democratic Congress marketed the Prime Minister. Never about philosophy or ideology or political position or defender of the people in the lower income group. Never about that. So I asked the question, who sent him? The Prime Minister said, it is not transformation. It is more restorative justice. And this one was a shocker to me. But it gives you a better idea as you fix the puzzle of the Dick Mitchell sojourn in politics. Who sent him? What is his objective? And more you see it you've seen it unfold. The Prime Minister said in the first 100 days, the biggest challenge was taking pictures. I've never heard that in my life. The biggest challenge was taking pictures. The women from Kareku was crying out they lost their job. Some of them work up to 15 years with government and lost their job. The women of Pulse, number of people that had temporary jobs in the schools was unceremoniously dismissed without even the government fulfilling the pay. These things happen. I ask, who sent the Prime Minister? And then the Prime Minister gone in Dubai. And the Prime Minister gone in Gala. And in these galas, it seems it is more a photogenic moment. People pay $250 to go and take a picture with the Prime Minister. And it's sad as you realize that some of the people who are losing their jobs work for less than $1,000 a month. So it's the poor of the poor. Some of the people who normally get 2 or 3 fortnights for the year. Cocoa Jenna pie. Nothing. And it seems as though the majority of the hardline NDC is happy about it. You don't have to believe me, you know. Listen to the motivational speaker on radio. The one that the financial institution and big companies paying to call people nasty. All you have to do is to go back and listen to some of the programs. He's the most bitter and objectionable human being I've ever heard. You know, individuals, so you don't understand why a politician is like that. That's the challenge we have. But the Prime Minister won election fair and square. People believed him. And this is why we cry out for some of the people that are seriously affected because it seems that they were tricked, they were deceived, and it's not fair. You know? They are the ones who depend on leaders the most to make an impact. The present situation they are in could contribute to emotional stress. And that is one of the factors that contribute to violence among young children. When you realize your parents don't have the money to buy some basic foods, which have seen serious increases from the time the government come in power. And sometimes when you speak, people say that you're not speaking the truth. So I always like to give examples. Sugar was $1.60 a pound for the longest while. Sugar now is between $2.55 and $3 a pound. Just imagine the people who were making a living by making dog teeth, candies, tampon ball, fudge, pudding, cut cake, turnover. All these people now in serious trouble. Because one of the main components, sugar, moved from $1.60 a pound to $2.55 to $3. No more control on it. You know, you ask how that could be. You have an economy, a cost of living that was increasing through no fault of yours because of the challenges of COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine and Russia. But the government contributed significantly to the increase in cost of living. Now, how does a government feel comfortable to increase the price of water? Sometimes you play this thing in your head over and over. How does a government come in and increase the price of water? Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, you don't lie, you know. Sunday send $10 and buy 2 pounds of sugar. I get back $4.50, you know. You 2 pounds of sugar, you know. I used to sell it and buy 3 pounds of sugar and $5. I had to spend $5 to buy 2 pounds. And we saying the government doing good. Mr. Pierre, what's going on with we Grenadians? I can't understand that, you know. And I'm sorry for people who are little children. They can't give their children a drop of sugar, water them, a drop of hot water, boil bush and give them. They wouldn't drink it. So I don't know what they just talk about. Oh, you could take mango and blend it. I said, that's stupidness. I hear these old people in the staff. So every man you know, give you to blend mango and give your children to drink? To go in the toilet? I find we the stock's fully stocked. I don't know what happened to us, you know. Mr. Pierre, people who is sugar, have sugar diabetes, they need a little thing in their body much less. Who don't have it? Mr. Pierre, we have to stop that stupidness. Come on. That cost of living going high, and now they expand NIS and nobody pay no going on. I just don't understand. And everybody talking about the government doing good. What is the good? Every day asking it, you know. What is the good? Mr. Pierre, have a nice day.
Yes, you see, it's sometimes if you're not in the kitchen, you may not feel the heat. But the people in the lower income group is seriously challenged with the cost of living. What is unfortunate is the government of Grenada contributes significantly to the increasing cost of living, but also by seriously interfering with the stability of a product that is used extensively. The government is causing the confectionery industry in Grenada to be seriously affected. A number of people make their living. They add income to their homes by making pudding. So they buy the pudding from the potato from the farmers and make it more marketable. And this is a challenge that we have, as if the government doesn't understand that. Then you hear rumors, you hear statements around that the government hairdressers and barbers, their trade will be seriously affected by the government new laws. And you're asking the question, who sent Deacon Mitchell? Why is he here? Is it to turn the hand of the clock back? Is it to make life more difficult and wretched for people in the lower income group? Does the Prime Minister not understand that one of the contributing factors to violence is poverty? One of the serious factors to violence among young people is high emotional distress. Well, if your parents are unemployed, costs of living have increased extensively. The government is not making temporary jobs. You will find a lot of young people going and hunt. As you watch your parents in the house, imagine people who have, the government is removing on the seed program. Some of the cases are so appalling that people can understand why a government is doing that. Why you're removing these people. These people are poor people. And it's not about to say people tell you they're poor. The people in the community knows. And you're removing the people from the program because their children might have been a supporter of the NNP. You can't do that. You ought not to do that. You're fracturing the community. And it's difficult when the government get encouragement from individuals, the motivational speaker. Mr. Thomas seemed satisfied. He said rebalancing. The other gentleman, St. Jude, realignment. My comrade Willie, collateral damage. So the government is continuing that policy. Well, obviously, it's going to affect the country. But in the process, you could seriously increase the violence level in the country. And this is where I encourage parents, particularly women, pay attention to your children in school at this time. Over the past 4 years, we are doing enough. We are doing enough to fail our children. We're making life hard for them. They are not well socialized in the school because of the lack of groups, because of the hostile environment in the school. A number of children that perhaps had an opportunity to make the Olympic, you know that even sports was interfered with. If your child is in secondary school, perhaps you already lost the battle. if they are in primary school, you could salvage, you could definitely influence and prevent them from ending up in a mental institute, in the prison, or just being a pest or a nuisance in the community. When you see the amount of young men from any community you go that seems to be heading for the mental institute of the prison, parents have to intervene. And I am suggesting some very simple, practical ways that you can do it. I always encourage people, by the time your child is 5 years old, encourage some level of music for the child to learn to play a musical instrument. If your child have a good voice, 4 or 5 of you in the community come together and find out who could do voice control. Encourage your child to go to church. Encourage them to be in the choir or the groups of the church. You see, all these things can help. If the child's father is a fisherman, maybe he could blow the shell. A shell is $5, and you're getting the lamb in it. $5. It's not all shell that good, but encourage them to get a good shell and teach the child to blow the shell. You notice I ain't talk about saxophone, a trumpet, because we are not speaking to the success stories. There are a lot of people in Grenada who could buy whatever instrument they want for the child. These people have it well locked down. They would not bother with me, and I ain't bothering with them. I'm speaking about that 70% of the population that exits school without a basic education. It seriously minimizes the chance for you to be competitive on the job market. And that is where parents could intervene. We have over 500 soca artists in Grenada. Maybe 5 or 10 or 20 might make it. The others will fall by the wayside. And it's simply believe it. I think most of them don't have what it takes. If they're able at a very young age to learn to play the guitar, learn to blow the shell, they might be able to blow the trumpet. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
And I have to thank you very much for support you give me. And I would explain to you towards the arm. The man bring back the arm for me. But I don't get back no money yet. I don't sure I'm getting back the money. But he bring back the arm for me.
And the arm broken?
Yeah, no, he don't think. But I'm still glad to see he didn't sell it and he come back. But I tell the next guy to he had in for the parts for me. I tell others that for parts. Say in America, who get that parts. Say you don't have it down here. You don't have it around. You hear me?
Well, don't get tricky again with this amp, you know.
No.
Don't give the next one money again and you don't give it back again.
No, I won't let them go with it at all. Anybody who are singing the hard current in the place here, let them sing it here.
Yeah.
Yes.
How old the amp is?
Hello?
How old that amp is?
Well, for the time I have it up something about, it could be about almost 4 years going since I have it.
All right, you might have to do an evaluation on it and determine how much it costs, how much you have to spend on it, and whether it is better to get a new one.
Yeah? Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much for calling back on us.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, yeah.
Yes, we have a call on the line? Oh, yeah. Yes, we could do more. And parents have to do more. Yeah. So that's one of the challenges we have in our society, and it makes no sense parents in the lower income group, your child are more likely to end up in jail. Parents in the lower income group, your child are more likely to end up in the mental institute. Your child are more likely to get addicted to cocaine and other substances. And you will not have the money to help them. You would not have the money to help them. They would not have the money to manage the habit, because that's one of the problems with coke. They cannot pay to maintain the habit. So they start by selling what they have. They're selling the shoe. And they sell what the parents have. And they turn to the neighbors. Sometimes the parents hide their faults while they're hoping against hope. But eventually, they become an addict. They have to get it. And they gone over and start to sell what the neighbors have. So I think that we have to try to prevent our children from going down that route. And the best time to start is when your child is young. And the question is the child education. Make certain your child have a good education. Send your children in church. Encourage groups in the community. Sit down and have dialogue with the father or the father figure. Some children may not have father, but 10% of the children have bad father, wrong father. It's a fact of life. But you may have father figures, brothers or uncles or somebody in the community that may have some influence on that child. Encourage them to get involved. A child is a gift from God. You have that gift. You could squander it, or you could do your utmost to prevent your child from being one of the antisocial piece of statistics in the country that everybody gets fed up with. You know? And I believe we could do more. We could encourage the government. I don't know how we're going to do that. We're trying by talking to encourage government to stop the hostility against people in the lower income group. You know, because that's one of the challenges we have. We are already in a bad situation, and we have a government that come with a philosophy and a policy that doesn't help the situation we're in. If the government is attacking the less fortunate, if the government is going after the marginalized, if the government has serious issues with the proletariats, that is the group where you're more likely to end up in prison and jail. And that is the group that politicians normally help. But the NDC, that's the group they always attack. Now, when you say that people want to take issue with you, and I tell them go back to 1990, look at the footprints of the NDC in 1990. Look at the footprints of the NDC in 2008, 2013. It is extremely similar to the footprints they're making now. Each time they get exposed, they're doing worse. Each time they improve their hostility against people in the lower income group. There is no explanation for that. They're telling lies. They have, I know of no policy and no project that the government ever had that increase, that is targeting employment. If you know of anyone, you could tell me. You could call me and tell me if throughout the NDC history, if you know of any program any policy they had that significantly increased employment in the country. I know of none, but sometimes I could miss it. But if you know of any policy that the NDC had throughout the NDC lifetime that is geared to increase employment in the country, then please tell me. Because that is a challenge. If you have high unemployment, you're likely to have more problem with predial larceny, more problem with sex issues, more problem with high emotional distress. And all these factors contribute to high violence in the country. We have to look at Jamaica. The people in Jamaica the authorities in Jamaica doesn't seem to know what to do. So wholeness is promising stiffer penalties, long jail term. I noticed the Minister of Agriculture in the upper house was advocating same. He considered them as lunatics and idiots. And he was advocating more jail term for them. This is not the answer. If the prison is already overpopulated, then increasing the amount of jail term does not help. What you need to do is to find ways to prevent our children from ending up in prison. And if you put more emphasis on their education, if you ensure that when they exit school, they are becoming more competitive on the job market, if you want to, you have to make certain that our children are multi-skilled. That is why I talk about music. Swimming. Based upon where you live in Grenada, we should have water sports. Swimming should be part of the sporting activity in every school. We like jab. We like carnival. So why not ensure that music is compulsory in school? Music is compulsory. The entertainment industry is billions and billions of dollars. Jamaica themselves is not taking advantage of the entertainment industry. Grenada not doing too, St. Lucia, St. Vincent. We need to have provide more opportunities for our children. Imagine we have over 500 soca artists. If they was able to speak Spanish, then the Latin America market might have been more open to them. You have millions of people in Latin America. The whole CARICOM nation is just 20 million. Haiti alone is 12 million. But if a Grenadian calypsonian, a Grenadian soca artist could speak Spanish, and Venezuela, Costa Rica, Mexico like it tune, you see the power. You see the power that goes on there. And we're supposed to know that. We have all these educators. They're bright. They have master's degree. They have doctorate. They have PhD. Why they don't understand these things? This is not hard. That our children in school needs to learn Spanish. Our children in school needs to learn Spanish. You know? Let us go to the Calypsonian Squeezy. I always admire Squeezy because I believe that he had some little Spanish in him. Remember Jaja children? They went down in Venezuela too. Why? I don't know. Sometimes I believe some of we educators should shed a tear. You see how Obama does wear tears? They should wear a tear. You see, as we search for answers, we ought to be practical and simple. It's not about big phrases or big words. We have to provide advice for parents that is practical, it is simple, it is tangible, it is usable, it is understandable. So teach our children music, teach them Spanish. When your child go to school, there are some basic subjects that you must make certain your child do. Mathematics, before we use maths, chemistry, biology, physics, English language, because that's what they teach. Then French and Spanish. Music. Now, nothing is wrong in bragging rights. So if your child have 25 subjects, absolutely nothing is wrong with that. But parents must make certain that your child have the basic subjects. If understanding schools subject clash, well, if anything clash with physics, forget the clash. Go and study physics. Anything clash with chemistry, forget it. French and Spanish. If your child leaves school with mathematics, chemistry, biology, physics, French and Spanish, your child will be more competitive on the job market. If your child could sing or could play a musical instrument and you add that to the subject, the child, well done. Don't bother with all this long, they tell you history, that don't bother with that. If the child want to do it, yes. But that is not basic subjects that are going to help your child be competitive on the job market. Don't bother with this thing called cookery or food and nutrition. When they come out with an A in cookery, you ask them, you could cook wild meat? No. You could cook lambi? No. You could cook maniku? No. You could make a iron? No. You could make a manish water? No. You could make cucumbers, pickled cucumber? No. You could make mango chip? No. Only macaroni pie. Making scones, macaroni pie. You could make dog teeth? No. Well, what you teaching them poor people children that for? When the child come out in cookery, some businessman rum shop want to employ them to cook maniku. $60 a plate. You know? They want macaroni pie. They can't even make yam pie. So something is wrong with your education system. Our education system's productivity, the productivity seems geared to shaft for children. And parents have to wake up. Because a number of people in Grenada understand that, you know. So they're making certain that they direct the child that mathematics, chemistry, biology, physics, French and Spanish, they're sending the child in music school. They're making sure the child could swim. So that child is more competitive on the job market. Then your child come and say they have agriculture, they have cookery, they have POB, nonsense subject. By the time your child have 13, 14 years, you must concentrate on some income generating project for your child. The average home in Grenada, they like to use seasoning. and you must be spending about $10 a week on seasoning. Go back and check it and see. So you could have your little child produce the seasoning that you need. Save, thyme, shadow benny. Produce it in the yard home. They have garlic. Just as how you have the save, you have a bush smelling like garlic. Use that. So that kid, your child in school, could already be producing seasoning for the home. And that is another source of income that your child have. When he get good, he might even sell it to the neighbor. We have to make sense. It's our children that ending up in jail. You don't have to believe me, Pay a visit to the mental institute. Some people can't stand it. Bring your youths, some of the youths that behaving bad, bring them in the mental institute and see the guys are there. When you see the amount of young men in prison, and it's the same poor people children that the National Democratic Congress has declared war on. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Pierre. It is pleasant good evening. Maybe I should say...
You're kind of very, very low.
Oh, probably, all right, okay. Well, maybe where I am, the area location...
Put the phone closer to your mouth.
All right. Well, anyhow, I don't want to stay too long today because, I don't really looking for no fame or anything from anybody. But let me tell you, I am the father of 2 children, and I'm proud of them. One is 14, the other one is all going on 18. And Spanish and French, and they bad on that. And let me tell you something. In my days, when I was going to school, I went to in Dominic School and St. Paul's Government School, and Spanish was taught there, and I did pick up some of it. I am not that frequent in Spanish, yes I did. So on the other hand again, the sugar thing, I am diabetic, and maybe it's because I use too much sugar. So I have no problem with the price of sugar at this time. I think that should be able to control and keep down people from using excessive sugar to become diabetic. When I look around and I check about the amount of people suffering with diabetes in this country right now, it's alarming. I mean, over 25% of the people suffering with some form of disability, and it's all because of diabetes. I myself, as I said, I'm a 1-foot man now, but I got born in a coal pit, and that's why it was so severe because my foot sticks down inside it, and it's all boots and whatnot, etc. On the other hand, let me just tell you again, I have 3 acres of land, and I planted up. I borrowed money from the what you call it, the Unida Bank. No, I'm making a mistake. Anyhow, one of them bank in town. And the truth is, I was paying it good. But then now I come and I can't pay it and whatnot, and they after me for the money, they have killing me. I don't know how it's made. But I jamming still. I sit down in my wheelchair, and I did cutlass in right now. But you know the problem I have? I'm a farmer boy, with the goats boy, yeah, a lot of goat boy. I plant some green bean and planting and blubber, and they come in so nice. I plant them in May. They come in so nice. And yesterday when I go there and today again, as I'm talking to you now, them goat watching me and they Anyhow, the thing about this is, you see the elasticity thing, and I agree for this lengthy sentence in prison. I prefer that. Because when you catch a man thieving, and you bring him in court, and then it's like the magistrate just give him a little tap on the wrist, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he back outside, and he coming back and distress you again. And watch, I feel you should lose them in jail. And before going, let me just tell you, the thing about it is, well, as a detainee and whatnot, etc., and I suffer a lot and whatnot. I have a lot of scars and marks and things that are paying to my grave, right? Anyhow, Winston Simon, Coco boy. And next time I call you, I will read a portion of things. The man gets cut balls and all kind of different things. Paper water and all kind of different things. Anyhow, you have a good day.
Yes, scholar, thank you. And just let me read this one from the chat. He said, imagine Dickens using poor people's money to pay $25,000 a month rent when he could have give 25 people $1,000 per month to do community service. I always ask, who sent Dickens? From day one, that is my concern. the National Democratic Congress policy have always been hostile towards people in the lower income group. There are some people in the lower income group that don't accept that yet, because they believe they're doing well. But with time, I think they will. So irrespective of what the economic situation is, I appeal to women of this country. Remember that the child you have is a gift from God. Put more emphasis in trying to get your child to be more competitive on the job market when they exit school. No matter when people tell me about children and rights to determine what subject you have, no matter that, you have to help direct them. Instead of wasting time doing subjects that would not make them competitive, concentrate on the main subjects, and that is maths, English, chemistry, biology, physics, French and Spanish. Ramming music with it. You have to take that task. If you by the Guave, Tivoli, the area, make certain your child learn to swim, art, and encourage the father of the child to help the child. You know, and thank you for all the callers and those who make contribution throughout the day. And we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1 for another opportunity to just exchange ideas and to encourage you constantly. Thank you very much.